Welcome, everybody. This is the Board of Selectmen regular meeting for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. And this meeting is being broadcast live tonight. It'll be broadcast, it's taped and be broadcast several times during the week. Okay, so let's begin by our Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're all standing, I would like to mention the passing of some Dayton residents, Mrs. Hazel Shillel, Helen Seamus Oliver, and Joseph Swist, who is the father of a town employee. I ask for a moment of silence in their memory, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get, so the main purpose of the meeting tonight is we've done a preliminary screening on 6 candidates for the position of fire chief. After that preliminary screening, we've narrowed it down to 2 candidates. So we'll be interviewing those 2 candidates. However, before we start, we have a little bit of business to do, and one of the first things is a public input. Yeah, that's you.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the dog that has been dropped on Brook Street. It was dropped on it was thrown out the window on Saturday. What I'm asking is for people in the public not to feed it, not to go anywhere near there. I'm finding food in the trap, on the door of the trap, which isn't helping because the dog can't get in the trap. People are feeding it. She's not hungry enough. She needs to get hungry enough to get into the trap and to trust me enough that she is willing to let me take care of her. She will bite you if you go to reach down for her because she's in survival mode.
Yeah.
She's going to try to get away any way she can.
She's very scared, I assume.
Very, very, very scared. So please, please, when you're traveling down Brook Street, please slow down, and please do not touch the dog or stop and look at the dog. I want to keep her where she is. So
But I think the point is, we know everybody's trying to help.
Right.
And they care about the dog, but if Stacy can't catch him, then the dog's going to be in worse shape than he is now, because he's got an injury, I believe, too.
Yeah, she's injured her back right leg.
Yeah.
Stacy, if anybody is driving down Brook and they see the dog, do you want to be notified or call dispatch?
Call dispatch, let them know, but please don't stop and try to help.
Yeah.
Could you just give a description of the dog?
She's probably about 2 feet tall, very, very skinny, tan and white. She's a Portuguese hunting dog. And she has a blue collar on.
Does she look like a beagle?
No, nothing like a beagle.
Short hair, long hair?
Short hair, longer snout than a beagle, and she's young. She's
Yes.
very young. I'm thinking she's probably about 6 months old.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, Stacy.
Anybody else for any public? Yeah, if you step up here, it'd be good.
It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah. And can you tell?
Frank Crisafulli from 1730 Wellington Street.
Okay.
I just wanted in this forum, wanted to bring the attention to the large-scale solar farm that's planned at 0 William Street, which actually backs up to Wellington Street where I live.
Right.
Wanted to, make the selectmen aware of it. It's also land that's presently in Chapter 61A.
Yeah.
So this is a land use potential change, and it would be, advised to the board as potentially the CPC that this may be land that they're interested in acquiring.
Okay.
So, that's it.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Anything?
Is this the only public input for the whole evening?
We can do
We
that.
generally do something at the end also, if, but whatever you want. Okay, so I've talked to both candidates, and they have decided they would like to be interviewed individually. It's a public meeting, so anybody can come in that wants to. So they've decided they want to be interviewed individually, so we've decided to start with our acting chief, Chris Mcgee. Welcome. I want to thank all of you all for being here too. And, okay, let us begin. Okay, I have a couple of questions. We've already, just so everybody knows, we've already done preliminary interviews. We spent about an hour, I think, with 6 candidates. After that preliminary interviews, we've narrowed it down to 2. So these are our top choices. And I want to say this also, both candidates are very, very strong candidates. So, so just so you know, so even, we only can have 1 fire chief. So even if someone is not selected or is selected, it doesn't reflect on their ability because they're 2 very, very strong candidates. Okay. I would like to ask you, what is the most important quality as a leader? Do you think you need as a leader to be successful in a job like this?
I think the biggest quality is to trust in myself and have trust in the personnel on the department. If we can't trust each other, then we can't function as a department. There's got to be loyalty to the department and dedication. These men and women that are here with me tonight are all dedicated to this department, and I'd just like to continue that kind of momentum, continue to build on the morale as we move forward.
And so, and follow up to this, so what do you think that you have done to build that trust? Because obviously you've done something right.
I think that I try to let people be involved in stuff as much as I can, and if that's asking questions of them, because I'll be the first to tell you I don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn from anybody and everybody. There's a lot of experience on this department, and I find myself falling back on that to get questions answered and move forward. And that goes right from the department to town hall. I'm up here a lot asking questions and trying to learn.
In your time as the acting chief, what would you say is the accomplishment that you're most proud of? I know you haven't been here very long, but
Right now, I'd say the biggest accomplishment is, as we've discussed, is the pager issues that we have that were discovered kind of by accident with an incident that some gentlemen in this room were on. We didn't even realize we couldn't tone for paramedics, and so right now I'm in the process of, actually they're supposed to be delivered sometime this week, new pages, so we can have all the tones we should have. And we're working on programming portable radios for safety of personnel. So
you're really focusing on the safety,
yes,
which is something we all obviously are very concerned about.
correct.
Chris, could I ask, what are your immediate plans and long-range plans if you are the new chief?
Immediate plans is to continue to learn the position. And obviously there's a lot of budget stuff. This department runs on 2 different accounts. There's the primary fire account, and then there's the ambulance fund. There's a lot of money that's transferred from the ambulance fund, and just trying to learn all that process. In the future, we need a lot of things. As we're growing out of fire stations, we have some aging apparatus that needs to be replaced. We have ambulance bills that are out of control that we need to clean up and try to bring back that process to the fire department instead of paying an outside contractor crazy money, and we're just going deeper and deeper in money that we're owed. Other than that, just continue to build the personnel. We're extremely short-staffed, especially on the call side. So trying to bring back the numbers to the call side, rebuild the command structure that we're basically depleted by resignations and previous stuff that I don't need to get into. So just rebuilding that command structure, and that will be a #1 priority if I get this job, is rebuilding the command structure.
Chief.
Thank you.
How would you describe your leadership style, and how do you think it will continue to benefit the department?
My leadership style is I trust everybody until they prove me that I can't trust them. I think I'm a very relaxed manager until I have to be forceful. I'm not an overbearing person on people. I don't find that is productive. I think that if you approach people individually and take them for who they are, and you get more out of them.
You brought up the issue of the shortage with call firefighters. What would be your plans to resolve that or fix that so that we have a better system or more people?
That's a tough one. We've talked numerous times about trying to put stuff out on Facebook to try to get town members to that might be interested. There's a significant dedication or time you have to put in right at the beginning to do the 6 months of the fire academy. So the other thing that I've kind of thought about and tossed around that I would discuss is maybe even expanding to people outside of town to try to get more personnel. I mean, we're really short-staffed right now, and we do a great job with what we have, but it would be great to have more support.
Why do you think we're having such a problem having? Because we used to have, I believe we used to have a lot. I don't know.
We did, and I really don't know. Previous leadership.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Chief, I'm curious to know, as you know, the town has done a lot of regrouping recently and working on, different departments, submitting different grants and things like that. Would that be something that's on your radar? Maybe not in the short term, because I know you have, more immediate things to do, but is that something on your radar?
Definitely, yeah. I think there's a lot of different grants out there, and I would want to explore anything that's out there to try to get us more stuff, more equipment. Like I say, the stations we're both growing out of could use some updating, especially Station 1. I think there's a lot of unused space that we could utilize a lot better just by some renovations of the station, especially the day room area and office areas and stuff like that.
How do you assess the quality of your equipment, your trucks and ambulances?
How do we assess it?
What is your assessment of what you have?
I think with the apparatus we have is in really good shape. We take really good care of it. The officers now are really diligent in making sure that if something is broken, that we're made aware of it and we put stuff back in service. The A2, our second run ambulance, reserve ambulance, whatever you want to call it, is aging. It needs to be replaced. We just had ambulance inspection, and the biggest thing we were written up on was some mechanical issues. So that truck needs to be replaced, and that would be something that I would probably look into do in the future to get that updated.
The other question I have, and it's kind of, we've hit on it a little bit, but if we select you to be the chief, what would be the first thing you would do for your department?
Rebuild the command structure. I need to have people in place, and I would hope that the current officers would stick around and help me through that process. We need to rebuild that so that way we have the proper people at the top to work down.
Getting back to equipment, for the foreseeable, the rest of FY18, you think we're going to be okay with whatever you have to do with A2 and the other equipment you said is in good shape? So you think A2 will make it through June 30th?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay.
I guess the big question, tell us why you think we should select you to be the permanent chief.
I think that I have 19 years of service to the town of Dayton. I think in that time I've proven my dedication to this department, to this community. I've done numerous volunteer projects at both stations, from station renovations to signs to Santa Run annually and all that stuff. I think that if you asked anybody in this room that I've worked with or worked under me, or however you want to put it, I think that people would say that I am dedicated, I'm trustworthy, I'm compassionate, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I don't think they would be this full if they didn't think that of you. Right. Any other questions, any
I
thoughts?
just have one final question. You've been acting chief for a month or two now, and in how long?
4, okay.
4.
Going
geez.
on 4.
I'm working 60 hours.
Where's my kids?
I apologize. So you've been there a while, and I'm sure you've observed different things. I guess my question to you would be, what, as you see it, as the current acting chief, what would be the benefits, in your opinion, to selecting someone in-house versus someone out of town?
Well, I think that the town's invested time in me, invested money in me, in training, in my time here. I think that I know the department, I know the dynamics of this department, because there's a lot of dynamics on this department. We have call personnel, we have call personnel who are just fire, we have call personnel who are just EMS, we have call personnel who are fire EMS, we have a full-time staff. So I think that my understanding of how this department operates would help me walk into this position knowing where we are and where we need to go. Somebody coming in is going to have to learn all those dynamics and learn all the people that are involved. And I don't know if I would envy that. That could be a time-consuming process and have an extreme learning curve to it.
Thank you.
I guess, unless somebody else has a question, I'd like to give you the opportunity. Anything else you want to say, or anything else you want to make us aware of, or pitch?
No, I don't think so. I think in my, I've been interviewed twice by this board now, so I think that there's not much that I can add that you don't know about me. I told you my date and where I was born and where I came from, my boys and, my wife.
I don't know where your kids are.
Yeah, somewhere. They're being quiet, I'm proud. So, yeah, I don't really have any questions. I know what the job is, and I just look forward to the opportunity if I get it, and trying to move this department forward and working with these guys and continuing girls and continuing to do that.
Okay. I want you to know, you see from here, we have a lot of recommendations from a lot of people, not just the people in this room either. They're very supportive. It's important to us as well. Okay, the process we're going to use, we're going to interview Jeremy Souza, who's the other finalist, and then at the end of that discussion, we'll have a discussion amongst ourselves, and we'll make a decision tonight.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Good work.
Or whatever you're comfortable with. Okay?
Is he again?
What I said previously, and I want to repeat it to you, we have two finalists, as you know, and both of you are very qualified. So whoever we pick, it's going to be a tough one. I know that from preliminary interviews, but there's no reflection on anybody's ability or whatever. So, okay. Start off. I want to ask you, what do you think is the most important quality that a chief here, as a leader, what's the most important quality that you need to have to be successful as a
As chief of the Dayton Fire Department, empathy for firefighters and members of the department that are standing around this room, and the ones who aren't standing in this room, obviously. My job as the chief, primarily, I feel,
is the safety of those members, making sure all of them, complete a career in the fire service. More tired when and older than when they started, but, successfully at the end. Not have something happen in the meantime. So that then speaks to my abilities and plans to train them, the abilities to equip them, and most importantly, my decisions on the fire ground and emergency scene to make sure that nothing happens to any of them that is untoward.
Okay. So I know you're the assistant chief, yeah, I should probably,
Deputy Fire Chief.
deputy fire chief at TF Green.
Mhm.
And so I would ask you, in the time you've been a deputy fire chief over there, what is one of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Again, it falls back to training. Completely revamped the training system that we have. The Federal Aviation Administration requires a fairly extensive list of training that has to be cycled through annually. The previous methods that we used, each of the 4 individual shift captains was responsible for that shift's training. The result is that we essentially had 4 separate fire departments that worked under one roof. When I became deputy chief, that was my top priority, was to streamline that training and everybody doing the same thing the same way. We have a lot of swapping between shifts and a lot of overtime, so firefighters and officers are working on shifts that aren't necessarily with the core group of members that they're usually with. And there's been a lot, we've found through the years that, well, that's not how we do it on our shift. That has essentially gone away. In the past year and a half, that's been, we don't hear that anymore. That everybody, the policies that have come out, that are department-wide, and the training that's department-wide, has really straightened all that out.
So the shifts, the team that's on duty at a given time, they're all doing the same thing, is what you're
Exactly.
getting at, okay? Good.
How would you describe your leadership style? And I'm curious to know specifically, how do you think that your leadership style would benefit the Dayton Fire Department?
I hesitate to say that I'm hands-off because I'm not, but I am not into the, I want it done this way, this way, this way, this way, unless there's a need that it has to be done this way, this way, and this way. I've always had a lot of faith in the officers of my department, both in Swansea and at the airport. It's your group, run it. If you need something, let me know. I will give you an overall objective, an end goal. If we need to get deeper into it, we will, but I lean heavily on the officers. They're officers for a reason. Hopefully they're trusted by the members working beneath them, and I trust those officers to do a lot of the, I won't call it the heavy lifting, but most of the lifting.
Thank you.
Since you mentioned Swansea, you want to tell us a little about your experience in Swansea?
So I've been a firefighter in Swansea for 23 years. Actually 23 years and 23 hours. Yesterday was my 23rd anniversary in Swansea. Served as a safety officer at Station 1, served as a lieutenant at Station 1. And traditionally in Swansea, it's common for you to take an officer position for a year or 3 or 5, and then you turn it over to somebody else. So, as my responsibilities increased at the airport, my availability began to decrease for Swansea, so I stepped away from the officer positions in Swansea to focus more on the airport side.
I know one of the things we talked about, I think, in a preliminary interview, is the call firefighters. And as you might have heard or know, we have a relatively low number of call firefighters right now. So what would you do to try and improve that situation?
Hopefully, my appearance in the department
Yep.
would, given the trauma that this department has suffered over the recent past, hopefully that new blood and a new momentum would hopefully bring back some of the members that have left in recent history. Beyond that, marketing is I hate to use the term marketing involving the fire service, but marketing to the residents who are willing to take on that challenge of becoming a call firefighter. I recognize the huge dedication just to go through the Firefighter 1-2 program to become a basic frontline firefighter. That is a huge challenge to get people to be able to do. Beyond that, starting to get in the longer term, I would look more towards the high school, Dayton Rehoboth High School, to try to get teenagers in at a younger age and You know, the average, nationwide, the average term of service, if you will, for a volunteer or call firefighter is about 7 years. So obviously, that's the average. You get more, you get longer, you'll get shorter. But if we can get a firefighter in at 18, 19, 20 years old, and we can hold on to them until they're about 30, which is generally when they start getting a family and their availability starts to decrease because family responsibilities and family life starts to take over. As long as we can keep members coming in at the low end as they begin to leave at the top end, you know, I think that would be a good benefit and a good way to maintain things on the call side.
What do you see as if you're the chief, your immediate plans and your long-term plans or goals for the department?
Immediate, I want to evaluate what's going on in the Dayton Fire Department. As an outsider, I don't have the intimate knowledge of the day-to-day operations of the department. You know, I finally get to meet some of the members of the department out in the hallway this evening. You know, I appreciate that I am an outsider, I'm an unknown. My first goal is to meet all of the members of the department. I want to know who it is that has come to help me run this fire department. Longer term, based on what the financial ability of the town is, I see some needs in equipment changing. The aerial that Dayton Fire Department has, to me as an outsider, that looks like maybe a new one might be in the works in the next few years. Longer term, you know, as we talked about previously, it depends on the growth of the town. Dayton has been growing leaps and bounds in population. Population drives EMS runs, population drives fire calls. As we see the fire calls and the population and the EMS calls with the population increasing, maybe changes may need to occur in the fire department in staffing. But again, that should be years down the road. That's a very long-term thing to look at.
So you mentioned that you were an outsider. I was an outsider before I ran for selectmen, so I appreciate that. How do you think that being an outsider will be an asset to the Dayton Fire Department as opposed to choosing someone from within?
I found that every once in a while you need new blood. And I with Chris, I respect he's been here for much, much longer than I have. But sometimes a refreshing outsider view is a good thing. I see this in fire departments. I've plenty of fire departments I've been associated with and visited and talked with members over the years. Why do you do X in this manner? Oh, we've always done it that way. Well, maybe some outside blood might impact that. There could be better ways, and I'm sure I will learn new and different ways of doing things that are peculiar to Dayton that work here for a reason. And those sorts of things, they'll need to stay. But perhaps there's some outside stuff that could change as well.
Thank you.
Guess I want to ask at least one question. What would make us, what do you want to tell us that would convince us that you should be the next fire chief for Dayton? That you haven't already told us.
You will get my heart and soul until, I believe the date that I calculated out was October 3rd, 2044. You'll get me till. That'll put me 50 years in the fire service. I hope that in 50 years I will hang up the hat and the badge and walk out the door with a smile on my face, and it will be out of a Dayton fire station when I do that. And you will get my undying dedication until that day.
I won't be here.
You might.
Don't sell yourself short.
Hey, I might be here.
Yeah, you might.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask was, at the airport, EMS services, how is it handled?
So at the airport, we are a licensed non-transporting EMS provider through the state of Rhode Island. We have two non-transporting, in Rhode Island they call them rescues, in Massachusetts ambulances. We have two vehicles that are licensed as non-transporting rescues. The membership of my department, almost all of my members are at least EMT basics. About 75% of my members are EMT cardiacs. We're only licensed at the BLS level, but most of my membership is trained to the advanced life support level. We respond to about 400 to 450 medical incidents per year. An airport is essentially a town of 10,000 people, just none of them sleep there. It's just,
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do, but they pass through, and so it's a transient population. So all of the ills that affect a small town, we have them. In fact, we had an opioid overdose fatality last week. So all of the ills of any small town USA, we suffer them at the same things at the airport. Transporting, we work very closely with the city of Warwick. Warwick Fire Department responds to the airport with an engine and a rescue, and they take care of the transport. So we begin treating the patients and then hand them over to our partners in Warwick.
So you guys are EMT, you have EMTs, so
Yes.
they can provide that initial and
That's
then
correct.
Warwick comes in, okay.
I'm an EMT cardiac in Rhode Island, a basic in Massachusetts, but a cardiac in Rhode Island.
Okay. Any other questions?
So this wouldn't be something for the short term, but eventually, do you see yourself trying to ramp up grant writing and just maybe to help with
Absolutely.
some of the
Anyone
things
who is
you're-
willing to give us free money, I'm in. There are grants. In fact, Swansea received a grant in 2008 to assist buying a new engine. That's a very high level to achieve with a grant. I'm aiming for it, but but for firefighting equipment, absolutely. I get scared with it's what's called the Safer Grant Program, where you get money to hire firefighters for usually 2 years. Once that Safer Grant money comes in, you're committed to maintaining those firefighters after the grant runs out. So 2 years after you receive the grant, the community is now placed on that's quite a hook. And I like the concept of the Safer Grant, but it has some long-term consequences that I don't really care for personally. But yes, grant writing is absolutely going to be would be part of my administration.
Another question about your connection to Swansea. Swansea has an all-volunteer fire department.
That's correct.
Are you a EMS in part of Swansea? Because that's a full-time, isn't it? How do they?
Swansea is very peculiar. We have a volunteer fire department that is run by a career fire chief. So a paid chief, a paid fire inspector, 4 full-time fire dispatchers, just dispatching fire and EMS. Police dispatch is separate. And then about 100 or so volunteer firefighters. The EMS side in Swansea is run by the Swansea Ambulance Corps, which is a private nonprofit organization. They have volunteers who staff the rescue, or staff the ambulance rather. They also have paid personnel. I don't know exactly how they're structured on the paid side. I don't know how many full-time employees, how many per diem or part-time, or how even the paid staff is paid, but I can't speak to that.
But you would only respond in Swansea to a fire call?
As a Swansea firefighter, that's correct.
Okay. When you talked about the grant, about grant money to help purchase equipment, I assume that equipment belongs to the town of Swansea, so the
Yes.
grant would have been filed in the name of the town of
That's correct.
Swansea? Okay, thank you.
I had no participation in the writing of that grant.
Okay.
So I don't want to.
Anything else, Brett?
No, I asked my questions.
I guess the last thing, I'd just give you the opportunity to tell us anything else you want to tell us, or?
I wish I could, but right now, the inside of my head is very fuzzy. It's, this is, I'm sure you've sat in this position. This is, it's nerve-wracking. So, I hope I've answered all your questions to your satisfaction, and look forward to your decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd just like to go get a bottle of water, so I can kind of digest a lot of what we've heard here. We are going to make a decision here in a few minutes about who the fire chief is going to be.
You're going to declare a recess?
Yeah, I guess let's take a 5-minute recess just to
Okay.
let the cobwebs clear of all. We've heard a lot of stuff here. Want to make a motion, somebody?
You can just declare
Okay,
a
and I declare a
recess,
recess for 5 minutes. We'll be back. This is only to me too, so.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. A little tired. How are you doing? Good. I hear you. Oh, I bet. We'll get some resolution tonight. Get my good side, Jordan. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'll get your bow tie.
Yeah, come on. I don't dress up for nothing. Right? Come on. This is an expensive suit. Right? How are you? Both of you? Hi, Mrs. Sherman. Look at you sneaking in. How are you? She's hiding from the camera. Yeah, oh, we see her though.
Okay, why don't we come back to order? So I think what we're gonna do now, if everybody,
Oh, you need your gavel.
yeah, I don't have that. By the way, I wanted to introduce Brett Zagrafis,
You don't
in case you
recognize- my
haven't seen him with
hair's
all
brushed
this, the new duds on and everything. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just have, if my colleagues agree, a discussion about the two candidates, and then we'll make our decision.
Sure.
Where are they?
They're out in the hallway.
They left.
We'll email them.
Let me just go talk to them and tell them they want, if they're.
See if they want to be in here.
Yeah, no kidding. Probably in the bathroom puking. That's why the ambulance is here.
Defibrillators.
They're ready. Keisha, I'm nervous. I feel like I'm being interviewed.
Toughest interview I ever had was when I went to UMass. There were 4 people interviewing me at the same time. And they
That's
were
a
all-
firing squad, Nancy.
They were all pressure people, because 2 were from the university, 1 was from General Motors, and 1 was from United Auto Workers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I talked to both our finalists, and I guess they're both gonna come in and meet with us and listen to the
No,
discussion.
no, we're on open session.
Yeah, we're in open session, so, okay. Open to discussion.
Tough
Start?
decision.
It's a very tough decision because, as I said to both of you, you both are very qualified. You both bring different things to the table. And, you know, I'm sure you both could do the job. We don't have 2 positions though, so. Here's my assessment, if you want me to start.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, Jeremy has a lot of experience and has accomplished a lot in his career as a firefighter. A lot of degrees, a lot of certifications, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. I think, I think you're a very strong candidate in those terms. I think you understand the fire service. I think you both understand the fire service very, very well. And I think you're both very committed to what you do. In Chris's case, I think, I think you've been here with us in Dayton for, about 18 years now? 19 years, yeah. And I think you've done a tremendous job bringing this group together with all the trauma that you've all been through. And you really commend you for that. I think you're both really concerned about safety, which is a huge thing in my mind, and I know it is in everybody who's in this room. What else? I like what you said about trust, because I feel exactly the same way. You trust everybody until they give you reason not to, and I think that's a very positive approach to that. And I like your ideas about the rebuilding the command structure. I think that's important, because I don't think we've had much of a command structure here for a long, long time. So, okay.
That's it?
Well, that's it for now.
Just kidding.
This one here, which is, yeah.
I appreciate both of you for coming. It was a pleasure getting to know you, Mr. Souza. Chief, it's been an honor to get to know you since you've been acting chief. I really appreciated your vision for the department. It was clear to me. I could see where the department's going when we spoke, when we interviewed, especially the first time it was a little longer. And Mr. Souza, your experience is very impressive. I think your case that you made for having new blood is also, there are definitely merits to that argument as well. So I appreciate you both coming and giving, honest, full, candid answers. I know it's tough when the camera rolls. I feel the same way. But I'll have a little bit more when we're ready to make our decision.
In looking at both of you, my first word is trust, because I felt very betrayed when we ran into problems. Respect for your employees, respect for the town, respect for the people that live in this town. And these words that I'm using, I see in both of you. Loyalty, okay? I think whoever is chief, the employees will feel that there is loyalty. Serving, not self-serving. You both have those characteristics, serving. Dedication, no question about it. With the experience, the combined years you've got, it's there. Knowledge of fire service, diverse knowledge because of local community and an airport. I didn't know there was a separate airport fire department, but so I learned something. The involvement of the employees that you talked about, that's true, because the people that are in the field, are in the trenches day to day, best know what goes on, and is certainly a resource that has to be considered in any kind of a change in leadership. So that's important. And overall experience. Like I say, you've both got it. It's not an easy decision to try to go through this tonight. I took a lot of notes. I'm reading back through the notes. The questions were very similar, with the exception of your Swansea, because, that was a little different. But I like both of you as candidates.
That's why they're here.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, you're both very qualified. My final thoughts are this. I think this fire department has been through a whole lot, and I think that you've done a tremendous job of bringing this group together, and I think that's evident by the number of people we have here tonight that are supporting you. And as I said, we also have a number of people that aren't on the fire department that we've also had speak very, very highly of you. I've known you for a short period of time, but I think very highly of you as well. That's where I'm at this point. So if you guys want to have more to say, want to make a motion, what do you want to do?
I wish I could flip a coin, guys. I mean,
It's a
that's a
tough,
cop-out.
it's a very difficult decision.
If one of you walked out the door, it would be a simple task. Or as somebody said, in the men's room, sick. But I'm going to make a motion to appoint Chris Mcgee, our next fire chief.
I'm going to second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just want to say three things, and this is in favor of the person who I'm choosing. It is no way just a slight to the individual I'm not choosing. I just wanted to say I'm voting for the candidate who I feel provided me with the clearest vision of the future for Dayton Fire Rescue. From equipment upgrades to apparatus replacement, station renovations, communications upgrades, and just rebuilding the department. I'm going to vote for the candidate tonight who, in my personal opinion, is ready to start preparing Dayton Fire Rescue for the future on day one. And I'm going to vote for the candidate, quite frankly, who I know knows the men and women of Dayton Fire Rescue, and quite frankly, who's given so much of himself, to this town and to our community.
I'd like to echo some of that. I think you do, I think unfortunately a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, but you don't have the experience with the town to know all the stuff, so it makes it a little more difficult for you. But I think I like the way that, Chris, the way you outlined what you see as the future. And I think you have a clear vision in you of what this fire department can become. As I said, I think your discussion about the command structure is very important. I think it'll do a lot to carry us forward, so that those are really strong things. And I think if you want.
I can only talk about my personal experience. That's the edge. As I said, both of you, if we came down to co-captains, this would be an easy solution. There'd be no question about it. Because if we did have co-captains, I think you'd both work well together. I have to look at what has occurred in this town. The response, the excellent response that has been demonstrated since the situation we had to deal with. I give a lot of that credit to the leadership. I give a lot of that credit to the people in the trenches that work day to day. Because they were full-time, they are full-time all through the whole thing, and experienced a lot of, I'll say, adverse situations. But again, I'm happy you applied. I think you've brought a really interesting perspective to firefighting. As I said, I learned a lot just listening to you and talking to you. And, but again, not being able to appoint two, then that's why I made the motion for Chris.
Okay, if no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very
I
much.
want to thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for supporting me. I appreciate it.
Chris?
Don't forget about us.
We'll have a whole list of
Look forward
stuff.
to working with you.
Chris, we'll have a whole list of stuff for you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, don't forget Dad.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank you for supporting Chris. I think I think we've made a wonderful choice, and I think we're very fortunate to have you have you been here and now be our new chief, and I think you'll do a tremendous job. And I want,
Other than 3 members of the department that are in the class tonight.
yeah, everybody's here, right, yeah. And I just want to tell you,
Volume still on.
you know, we're here to make you successful.
Absolutely.
So anything we can do, if you need help with anything, or you need outside help, or whatever you need to let us know. We'll keep the.
The speaker.
And
We call her the boss.
and we'll, yeah, we're there for you. So what we're gonna do at this point, I would like to meet with you sometime, probably
Already?
early next week, and we'll talk about contract. And then what we'll have to do then is, we'll have to come back to our selectmen meeting and approve that. Okay? So,
And you'll get that 5-page list of things tomorrow morning.
yeah. I can't tell you how happy we are that you're our new chief, Chris.
Have a great night. Celebrate. You deserve it. Shake her hand because she will be amazing.
We're gonna have no public.
Mcgee, how are we doing?
You can get him.
We need to send a letter to Chief Nord, because he came up with, his work he did was,
Invaluable.
yeah.
We can bring him next week.
You know, you gotta do the certificate. We can sign the certificate tomorrow.
Probably should be sworn in right away. That'll be your official start date as chief.
And then do
like
a one for the meeting.
Yeah, when we ratify your contract.
Well, actually, the swearing in is not urgent. You're already sworn. You need to sign the paper. You need to take the oath, and it would be good if you could do that on camera.
Yep.
So you could do that at our next meeting.
And we'll just make it effective
Sue
today.
in, because you're still, right now, you're the chief, but you're still acting chief. So you're it, okay? So let's plan to make up the certificate, let Sue know he's gonna be sworn at our next meeting, okay? But you are the chief.
So because you're,
But but as acting chief, it covers you, all right? You have all the powers and whatever.
since your old contract is up, you're not gonna get paid for the next couple of weeks.
Retro.
Yeah, I know. So, yes.
Yes,
And maybe, maybe we can meet sometime Tuesday? Okay. Okay, great. Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Everybody left.
not everybody. You leaving too?
Don't leave, Tom. Come on.
I'm on a truck, so if it leaves, I have to go.
Oh, okay.
That's here, we're talking about deputy chiefs that we no longer have. So,
That's up to the new chief.
That is it.
Yeah, no, but that's not our turf. That's the chief's turf.
Strong chief.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we should go for the paper.
What's his name? Judson?
We're gonna call it Dayton Gazette.
They say, what, are they running for something?
you're all center on the seal.
Once you get,
Have a good night, Chief. Enjoy. That's it. I hope you have a great night.
I appreciate the opportunity, I really, really do. Good luck with that.
So they haven't got that education thing straightened out up in May.
okay.
Rowdy.
Shut those doors, just so.
You can hear a pin drop now.
So much for the public. They all left.
They weren't here for us.
We're just shutting the doors so we can, you can hear what you have to say. Could you,
You guys have to sit here until everyone leaves.
we just have a
Well,
couple
we gotta
items.
finish the meeting. We gotta finish the meeting.
If you want to stay though, you know, we could use the
He's
company.
like, "Nee."
The whole all the public is now left, so, but anyways. So, we just have a few items of business that we need to take care of tonight. And the first item of new business is to ratify the Highway Department employee contract, AFL-CIO State Council number 93, Local 1701.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we ratify the Highway Department Employees Contract, AFL-CIO, State Council 93, Local 1701.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we
We have
also,
no old business?
no.
Okay.
Good catch, Samir.
The next thing is a road opening permit for Columbia Gas.
Thank you.
So this is a request from Columbia Gas, and it's our response to that. Permission is hereby granted for a road cut at the following location with all necessary appurtenances. 1896 County Street, hole number 95 in Dayton, Mass. Whenever possible, pipes are to be jetted under the roadway. Any unsuitable material will be replaced with gravel and 2 layers of 2-inch compacted asphalt for a total of 4 inches of asphalt. All gravel will be compacted in 12-inch layers. The road will be placed back in the same or better condition as when the project was started. I will entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And the next thing we have is a notice to proceed for the Dayton Police Station.
Hey, is Mr. Mcgee still here? He should be present for this.
He probably is out there. So this is a formality. We signed the contract last week. Now we have to issue a notice to proceed to the to Tower Construction Company, who was the successful bidder for our new police station. So let me read this. Dear Mr. Torregrossa, who is the principal for Tower Construction, the Town of Dayton has received your signed contract and confirm that your bonds and insurances are in order. Please consider this letter as our official notice to proceed with the construction of the above noted project, and that the date of commencement as per contract will be 9/27/14, and therefore substantial completion as per contract shall be 9/27/2018. Thank you for your interest in the project.
What was the date for starting? Oh, 9/27,
That's
okay. All right.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve this letter to proceed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I'm gonna sign this for the board. Excellent, so this will get the shovel in the ground, hopefully very shortly. Okay, we have a Bristol Plymouth open house on Saturday, October 14th. Do we have an announcement of that, or just a, no? Okay. But there's an open house at Bristol Plymouth, Saturday, October 14th, from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Everybody's invited. If you want to see what that school is all about, it's a wonderful school. I would recommend people go down and pay a visit.
I will put that on the website as well.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I'm not sure
It's
many
a-
people are watching after.
Yeah,
Or
right.
can hear. It's a good opportunity if you have children in middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and they're not sure. This is an opportunity to check out BP and then maybe attend the summer program next year to get a further taste of what it's like.
Great. And we have correspondence from Comcast.
Robert Sullivan, he's our guy.
Comcast has done a pretty decent job. They try to keep us up to speed on what changes are going on. I think probably if you have Comcast, you probably receive this notification as well. But it's just a notice that on or around November 7th, 2017, ESPN Classic will no longer be available. And then effective November 20th, 2017, the XF Triple Play Reward Sport Entertainment Service at $8.95 a month for Preferred XF, Preferred Latino, HD Preferred XF, Preferred Extra Latino, HD Preferred Extra XF, and HD Premium XF Triple Play packages will no longer be available for new subscriptions. Customers who currently subscribe to Triple Play Reward Service will continue to receive the service until they make a change to their account or receive further notice. So we'll have this in the office. If anybody has any questions, you can give us a call or come up and read it. How about reports?
I just have one, Mr. Chairman. Last Thursday, Carol Beauregard, the chairman of the Board of Assessors, and I attended an all-day training workshop. It was Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services, and the training covered new updates, changes in regulations, new information regarding pilot agreements for solar farms, and there was really a good case study in the afternoon at the workshop we went at. So we felt it was very worthwhile, and I have brought information back to my colleagues so that they're aware of what was covered and pointed out some of the important issues that are relevant to activities here in the town. So that was a good meeting.
I have one very brief report. Actually, this is from today. So Serpide, on behalf of the town of Dayton, was awarded a meta grant in the amount of $7,500. This was done essentially by the Dayton Green Communities Committee, who was working with Serpide. And now that we have been awarded this money, Serpide will assist the town in attempting to become a designated green community. And the purpose of that is to help reduce the burden to taxpayers on things like energy and energy-related projects as well.
Great.
So good news.
Good.
And you're on that committee.
I am. I'm a member, proud member of that
It's a
committee.
very hard-working committee, and they've done a lot of great
And
stuff.
see, yesterday, the lieutenant governor was here and signed the community compact cabinet, and we've already got another grant.
Yeah.
But yesterday was very nice. A number of townspeople turned out, came in and greeted the lieutenant governor. She was very appreciative. She said that we're the 304th town to get the designation, and this is the only community that had a cake and coffee. So Dayton did it up well. She stayed quite a while. It was a nice event.
It was.
So thank you to everybody that stopped by to say hello.
Thank you.
And if the lieutenant governor should see this meeting, thank you for coming down and recognizing Dayton. We appreciate it. Okay, we don't have announcements, but we do have announcements, so let's,
Acknowledgements?
Huh?
Do we have any acknowledgements?
do we have any acknowledgements? Let's do the announcements then. Take it away, Mr. Zografis.
Thank you. Trash bags, sharps, disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Please call 508-669-6431 for more information. There are vacancies on the Zoning Board of Appeals, Land Use Committee, and the Capital Outlay Committee, the Cultural Council, as well as the School Building Study Committee. So if you're interested in serving your town and serving your community, we'd love to have you.
I just want to say a little more about the School Building Study Committee. That's a committee that's we're gonna look at the, what's going on in Dayton, try and project out a little bit into the future to see what the requirements will be for the schools and for the elementary and the middle school. And so if you want to serve on that, it's going to be a very good committee. It's going to have a huge impact on the future of our schools here in Dayton. So we really need people to step up and help us with that. So if you're interested, let us know.
Selectman Goulart?
Sojourn Bears program is looking for volunteers to stuff and sew bears. They meet on the fourth Monday of the month from 10:30 to 12 noon at the Charles French Room at Lincoln Village. We're always looking for people to help out, donations of cotton blend cloth, and the bears that we make are taken to the Hudner Cancer Center at St. Anne's in Fall River and given to patients who are being treated. The Dayton Lions Food Bank distribution will take place on October 21st in the Dayton Town Hall, lower level, from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Volunteers are still needed to support the DR Falcons this season. There is a volunteer sign-up sheet on the Town of Dayton website. The Dayton Council on Aging will be holding a flu clinic on Thursday, October 26th, from 12 noon to 2 p.m. in the lower level of Dayton Town Hall. And I just want to remind everybody that Sunday, November the 5th, mark your calendars, it's the Lions Art Festival at Arujos Farm, and there will be shuttle service from Manheim, so you don't have to worry about parking. And the bus runs frequently, so they'll get you back and forth.
And I want to say that the art festival this year, we have over 20 additional vendors than we've accommodated in the past. So we're going to put up a tent in the parking lot to accommodate those vendors. So it's going to be, there'll probably be close to 90 vendors there. So it's going to be a wonderful event. So please come down and enjoy it with us.
And one last thing, the Lights On Celebration Committee is still seeking volunteers to help out. We love this. This is one of the biggest events in town. Please call our town clerk, Sue Medeiros, at the town clerk's office if you're interested.
And we're still looking for that key female volunteer for a very important role. And also, any monetary donations are welcome. And again, that's Sue Medeiros. I think, having now appointed a full-time fire chief, I want to publicly express thanks to Chief Kevin Nord
Yes.
from Duxbury,
Yep.
whose help was just enormous. He took all the applications, he went through them, he did an excellent job. He reviewed everything, provided rankings, did not try to sway this board one way or another, but his assistance was invaluable, and quite frankly, it cost the town zero. So I'm going to make a motion that we send a letter of appreciation to Chief Kevin Nord, thanking him for all the help he gave us, and also advising him of our selection of the new fire chief.
Second.
I want to echo Nancy's comments. I mean, Chief Nord, we don't know what is important in a fire chief, and he absolutely, we couldn't have done it without him, or if we did, we probably, or it's likely we'd have not evaluated the same things we evaluated with these candidates. So really thank Chief Nord.
And now it makes sense why so many other towns, when they need a fire chief, go to Chief Nord to help them in the selection process.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, approval of minutes.
I always default to Selectman.
You do the minutes, I'll do the warrants. I assume we have warrants.
Mr.
I
Chairman,
scribbled on everything.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of a special meeting on August 18th, 2017, the minutes of an executive session meeting on September 12th, 2017, the minutes of an executive session meeting on September 13th, 2017, and the minutes of an executive session on September 21st, 2017.
Second.
Let's see the minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what we'll do next, because the open meeting law requires that once the purpose of a executive session is completed, then the executive session meeting minutes become become public. So these, I think these are, I'll have to review them, but anyways.
So what we need to do is vote to approve them
Yeah, right.
now.
And then we'll vote to make them public.
And actually, you can look back as far back as you
Right.
want to go to see if
Right.
others can be released, and then we can just vote to release those
Okay, at our next
going
meeting.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, or future meetings.
I
Yeah,
just
right.
want to make one comment because it may influence what we do here tonight on these minutes. So these meetings, if I'm allowed to say, pertain to our initial interviews with the fire candidates. I think now that we've selected
Yep.
the permanent chief, I think these can be approved, no problem. This one is still something ongoing.
Okay.
Right.
Do you mind if I put those?
So which one are you taking off the list?
The 21st.
Okay, so,
Should I
Well,
make a
can we move the minute, all right, you move to just accept them. We're not voting to release them now. That's going to be a
Let's-
separate
That's
vote.
okay. Yep,
Yes.
we'll do them all.
okay.
Thank you.
So the motion and the second is to approve these minutes, that's all.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now let's look at these minutes.
Warrants?
Well, I think when we vote, might as well vote to release, make these two
These
public.
cannot be.
Those can't be, but these, the set of minutes from September 12th and September 13th were doing our preliminary interviews with candidates for fire chief. And since that process has been completed, oh, wait a minute. No, we can't.
If,
There's other items in here, so
Yeah,
we'll have to,
I
we'll have to
really-
hold
I
off on
really-
that. Yep.
I really think we ought to hold off releasing any
Sure.
executive session minutes until you have a chance to read through them.
Yep.
And, because even if there's just one item that needs to be resolved or
Yeah.
whatever, you can't release them.
So we'll be back to you on that.
But they're approved. We'll just wait.
They're approved.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Warrants?
Only 2 warrants. See that, Brett? Now you know why I only picked warrants. You had 4 minutes. And you missed it. Brett?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Missed the fourth.
Huh?
Was there another one?
No, I said, now you see why I told you to do minutes. There's only 2 warrants. Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 14A-18 in the amount of $80,603.42, and warrant 14B-18 in the amount of $311,946.12, the first one being payroll, and the second one being accounts payable, be approved, both dated October the 4th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I just want to say one more thing. Number one, I want to thank my colleagues. I think the process for selecting the fire chief was a very, very good process. I think we did it very well. I think we took the right steps, and I think it was a very, very, I feel very, very good about the choice we've made and the process that we went through. It's kind of like one of the big things that's now off the list. The next thing on the list is the town administrator. And the schedule for that looks like next week on the 11th, the consultants we're using are going to come down, and they're going to meet with 5 or 6 candidates. They're going to meet here in this room, and they will do interviews with those candidates, however many they think are worthy of it. And then they'll provide us a package after that, and then at least over the weekend. And then the following week, on the 17th, which is a Tuesday, or the 19th, which is a Thursday, we will make the final interviews on those candidates and make our selection. So getting a lot done here, which I think is great. So I want to thank both of you for working together on this.
Thank you both.
Again, I can't thank Chief Norton enough. We had excellent candidates.
Right.
it would have taken us a great deal of time to go through all of the applications and rank them, because we really didn't know what you look for in a fire chief.
We didn't have a criteria.
None of us have ever gone through appointing a chief. So anyhow, we were very fortunate to
Absolutely.
get help.
Okay. Anybody want to leave?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody, and
Night,
thank you,
Cable.
Cable.
Enjoy the long holiday weekend.